If I'm audible and visible, please give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Okay, I can see few people are saying, yes, I'm audible and I'm visible too. Okay, good. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you everyone for sparing your evening with us today. Let me welcome you wholeheartedly from my team and myself, VI Suman. Today we are going to cover 5 steps which are proven strategy to elevate your ESG career. We will start with understanding of ESG fundamental. Then we will go into ESG integration and climate risk. We will look into sustainable finance and its application. And then we will go directly into career and certification opportunity in between debunking the ESG myth. This program will be loosely formal. So try to ask your question at the end of the session. But if you have a question bothering you, you can always post in the chat box. Either my team or myself will pick it up and answer it ASAP. Let's put the housekeeping in order. As I have told you, use the widget or chat box for asking question. We will also give you a survey to fill out at the end with a Google review. And on-demand replay of the video will be provided who has paid for this program. And eventually we will, if you have any technical issue, just log out and log in or connect with our team members. First thing first, why should you even bother about it? Why should you should be listening to me? First thing first is that I have 2 decades of experience in consulting, specifically ESG investing and investment banking. I'm a CFA charter holder, which is a US designation degree, professional degree. And also I'm ESG certified with University of California. I'm a managing partner and founder of M&A Experts and ESG Mastery Institute. We are based out of Bangalore, and I have 2 decades of experience, 21 years in total. Recent accomplishments are seen on the screen now. I have been also, for a brief period of 3 years, I was a CFO of 2 companies, one in solar power and smart meter company, and second was in EV company called LML. So during that tenure, because we raised fund as well as we did merger acquisition, I have been awarded 3 times in a row as a CFO of the Year award. This was 22 and 23. I have been also on several platforms, speaking platform as a keynote speaker on Economic Times, as well as Bangalore Tech Summit, etc. I'm a TEDx speaker, specifically on the topic of ESG. Now, last 1 year is quite interesting. Actually, now last 2 years, I have written 2 books in total. One was Underdog to Unicorn. This is a ESG and investment banking book, little bit of technical, but it was ranked as a top 100 books in India for 3 months in a row. And also I have written a book on ESG and sustainable investing. All the books are available on Amazon as well as on Notion Press. I have trained and advised more than 3,610 people since last batch, and working professional along with companies which we have helped. Where are our alumni currently making impact? Are the company which are in bottom. It ranges from analyst to board of director, from CXOs of companies to ESG analyst of the company, and from investment banking firm to university, all across.
But I actually wanted to
Let my participant speak.
It gave me a wide understanding of the frameworks and what actually happens in the sustainability front and how is it different at the corporate level from the grassroots level, which was what I was actually looking for. Because I had mostly worked with NGOs on the grassroots level and not on the corporate level. And now I'm actually thinking both sides of the,
Spectrum.
sustainability front, like what corporates can do that will bring an impact at the grassroots level. And also, it has actually helped me a lot to understand how negotiation in the climate front also works.
Happening,
So
yes.
thank you so much for this.
So that was one of our participants in past programs. So did I get your attention? Because that was the purpose till now, that you understand that I'm going to add value to your ESG career as well. If that is the purpose, I think I have solved. If not, I got some awesome bonuses for you. For example, a special offer on ESG investing journey. If you want to continue, we can help you with that. We have a special bonus there. We will give you a carbon accounting book if you remain there till the end. And also you will have a continued access to 1 month of our WhatsApp and Telegram group. These are the awesome bonuses only to apply to people who will remain 2 hours with us, next 2 hours with us. Now with that, let's straight away get into getting our hand dirty and learning some concepts very clear. Let's start with understanding why currently global crisis can build our sustainable future. Yeah, specifically environmental factor will be my focus, that how this rising temperature, and the culprit and resolution is helping people all across the world to build their career in climate science. Now, first of all, let's see this graph. It's of course a research document which I'm referring to, which shows that our economy, which has developed over 200 years now, since 1890, has a cost which it is bearing. So left-hand side, the transformation as a lifestyle we got, and right-hand side shows what kind of impact we are doing to the environment. What is the expense to the economy and on nature of this particular development which we got? So as you can see, of course, population over a period of time gradually has increased, but primary use, which came very late, has drastically required a vertical jump. Same goes with the water use. Earlier, we were thinking water is in abundance, but now we know for sure water use is one of the scarce area. And then again here, we see a massive consumption pattern. Similar goes to the vehicle, which is a recent phenomena of 1900, when mass production of vehicle started. But again, the jump is a straight line, a straight vertical line, along with the paper and fertilizer. All this has happening at the expense of nature. And that's why we see the impact. Impact in terms of carbon dioxide, of course, we have crossed now parts per million beyond 430. Methane has followed the similar pattern, and it has become a critical element even to be discussed in COP. It started from COP19. Ocean acidification is another area which is growing very fast, along with the temperature which we observe in India very well, and we know how it has changed. Along with tropical forest loss and nitrous oxide. By the way, not only India, even America is facing. Leave Trump, everybody is facing that ire. Los Angeles fire is another good example of temperature being changed, specifically change in weather pattern in the area of California state or Los Angeles suburban, where actually in winter time, first time, a wildfire has happened. Now, this is not me only saying this. Of course, there are some other evidences are also there in the play.
The UN Secretary
If my screen is visible, just let me know. In the chat box with a thumbs up.
Is speaking as new alarming climate data is released today. Let's bring you some of that speech.
For the entire planet, it is a disaster. And for scientists, it is unequivocal. Humans are to blame. All this is entirely consistent with predictions and repeated warnings. The only surprise is the speed of the change. Climate change is here, it is terrifying, and it is just the beginning. The era of global warming has ended, the era of global boiling has arrived. The air is unbreathable, the heat is unbearable, and the level of fossil fuel profits and climate inaction is unacceptable. Leaders must lead. No more hesitancy, no more excuses, no more waiting for the others to move first. There is simply no more time for that. It is still possible to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid the very worst of climate change.
My screen is visible. Once my screen is visible back, just let me know. Okay, so is the screen, my screen is visible now? So what's my point is that the world is at tipping point. And UN Secretary, who was just speaking a little earlier, was talking about exactly the same. That era of global warming has ended, and era of global boiling has arrived. Now that shows that ESG is ticking right now as a time bomb. Climate collapse, financial crisis, and resource wars are the major to blame here. The left-hand side graph shows that climate collapse and irreversible tipping point we have already reached. The world is dangerously close to the crossing irreversible climate threshold, such as melting of Greenland, which thankfully Trump wants to acquire now, and Antarctic sheets are melting at unprecedented rates. Mass displacements of population is happening, and that is what in E side of environment is doing. Of course, our S side is also not less any longer. Impact is similar. The global financial instability with the ESG failure in governance side is lurking, which will happen at any point in time. Where the ESG risk now is a systemic financial threat, which has been accepted all across by, including World Economic Forum. Trillions of dollars are tied up, specifically in the investment in this area. And regulatory loopholes, greenwashing, etc., is going to trigger that alarm very soon. Apart from that, of course, we know resource wars at the time of COVID when the supply chain was challenged with China, stopping their supply chain network. The rush for rare earth material and lithium, cobalt, etc., essential for green transition is another challenge which we're facing. So E, S, and G equally right now is threatening, and we need to understand how to utilize it. And that is why the gold rush for ESG has started on another side. The left-hand side figure shows, this is as recent as 16th January data, which I'm trying to show you, that even in India, we are targeting somewhere around rupees $31 trillion or billion dollar of 350 only in green investment for the transition purpose by 2030. Of course, we are expecting global renewable energy to reach by $3.1 trillion market, and the asset under management, including ETFs, in ESG segment will reach to an amount of $50 trillion, which indicates that you cannot survive without having, at least at the decision-making level, without having exposure to ESG instrument and finance. Social is another area which is coming from AI and tech-driven ESG innovation that is also changing the world. For example, blockchain is a required technology now for climate credits. Even we are talking about governance side, regulatory driven market advantage and disadvantage is challenging us now. Yeah. For example, fusion of AI with blockchain can create a data sanctity which we require currently for our carbon accounting purposes. Now, stricter ESG regulations like CSRD in EU, which has an implication in terms of CBAM penalty, which is coming to come, along with SEC. We don't know what will happen to the SEC climate disclosure rules, CDR, but we still believe that will not be withdrawn as they have withdrawn from Paris Agreement. But even though that happens, but IRA in USA will remain there, and then investment will keep happening, which makes ESG as an opportunity for all of us to capture on and develop our career in this area. Now, okay. Now, ESG integration is the science which I am going to detail today with a case study specifically, that how you can utilize ESG into your decision making as well as analyzing any opportunity or a risk, specifically the climate risk. Yeah. What are those strategies which can maximize your returns and mitigate the risk which world is facing today? Let's start with understanding the strategy available for decision makers and analysts first. And that comes in forms of ESG integration. Now, environmental, social, and governance factor, which helps us in decision making. If you integrate in your decision making provisions, for example, valuation or your decision matrix, like your strategy which you are developing, either long-term, short-term, or medium-term, that portion is called ESG integration in your decision making. How we can do it? By combining these factors in E, S, and G. There are several factors which we will discuss going forward. You can use into traditional financial analysis, and assess the company overall value. That is one way you can make any decision worthwhile. Along with enhancing the risk management, which is the other side, to mitigate the risk, you need an informed decision making for sustainable and long-term investment. And that's another side, which as a strategy you can use to make a better decision. Now let's go and understand how a steel company, which is which is facing a CBAM IR very soon, can integrate ESG into their sustainability development. What I'm trying to showcase here is the company background is a large Indian steel manufacturer who has more than 90% of their company asset in locations with existing or impending carbon regulations, for example, in Europe. Now, challenge here is coming from the regulatory scenario. During 2024, as you know, India has announced carbon credit trading scheme, CCTS, but still our steel industry is lagging behind in that area. FY25 onwards, this year onwards, of course, carbon prices are expected to reach in excess of $500 rupees per ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. And even in one case, we have seen where Google has acquired Varaha, carbon credit system, they have done at a value of $100 per tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Now, that kind of scenario, if we are expecting with the CCTS system, we will be having which will be impending. Now, material ESG risks which are impending currently requires, despite some initiative, company has not been able to reduce its carbon intensity, specifically this steel industry, in this steel company which we are talking about. How, in that case, they can change their... His mic is on. Can you... team, if you want, you can remove the person if he is unable to mute himself. It is exposed to the risk of increased cost linked to the carbon regulation. Specifically, the material ESG risk lies there in terms of carbon regulation. That's what has been identified as a case study. Now, how we can include this steel industry, carbon factors into our decision making so that we can make a judicious decision here in terms of return, which we are expecting from this company going forward. So as an analyst or as a decision maker, this becomes a very critical exercise to do. For example, we know that turning steel green is a difficult aspect in itself. Few companies which are already started doing it, they know the cost of that is approximately 1.95 tons, which they are emitting currently. This is based on their current emission data of 2021, which has been considered, right? And that is the per carbon dioxide emission rate. Tons crude steel produced by 2030. This much of carbon dioxide we are expecting from the company. So when we are doing the projection, we are considering these numbers. And of course, you should also know that what kind of share of exports from all those countries where this steel company has exposure is lined up for the export numbers. And those numbers are there on the right-hand side, which we expect to decline in in 2023. Given this data set, what we have done to integrate this data set into our valuation model and make judgment about the company is two sides. I'm reflecting both sides right now. First is the pre-integration level, where in ideal case, in base case scenario, we have a positive IRR all across. Starting with revenue growth, we are expecting 7% in base case. And in bull case, of course, we are expecting that the revenue growth will happen by 15%. If you see bear case in positive IRR scenario, where the company is giving me a positive IRR, if I'm doing the expansion plan and as well as considering 2030 targets, the margin improvement in bear case goes to negative 10%. However, in base case, still it remains 1%. That's why I have positive IRR. Now, IRR is a short form for internal rate of return, is a simple, where the net present value of a company is zero, we are judging that number. Now, here you see margin improvement in bull case is still 3%. So it is a conservative scenario for any steel company which exists in India. However, this company always given cash dividend in past. So we are assuming they will also give cash dividend in base case and bull case equally. Now they are also looking for multiple expansion, but in bear case, I have assumed they can't do the expansion because of the certain restrictions they are facing. In this case, you see the expected IRR with their 5-year data projected forward, we get in base case approximately 12%. In bear case, if the things doesn't work out for them and market remains subdued in the steel segment internationally, they might have a negative IRR of 20%. But that is the simple financial calculation which any analyst will be working on or a board will be working on. However, post climate risk integration in this model, which we just saw on the previous slide, we understand the situation can go grim. Even though the revenue growth remain the same, because I have to include the penalty in terms of CBAM going forward, the margin improvement in base case is negative 6%. Even in bull cases remain around 3%. If you just assume $500 carbon dioxide cost, if you assume that number in this case, you are getting a negative 3%. And now the decision which you will make will be completely different than the decision which you are making in isolation without considering the ESG factors, specifically E factor in this case. Here you see expected IRR comes down to the stock market return level, Indian stock market to be seen as giving 12% on year return for long-term basis. But in bear case, the situation is really grim. You might have your capital eroded because there will be a loss of 39% as a expected IRR. And that is the area of concern when we include ESG and integrate into our analysis. And that is the simplest case I have shown. Of course, we do this in detail in our 3-day session, which we are starting from 8th of February. Let's go further and try to see what are those risks which we need to assess in terms of climate. Now, there are 3 critical risks which generally we consider. We start with the physical risk. For example, I'm taking an example of global sea level rising. By 2021 year, this is a project given by IPCC, which I'm considering here, that 6.6 feet will be the sea rise on coastal areas, which is equivalent to even higher than the average man size in India. Yeah. So extreme weather events are the challenge which we are going to face whenever we talk about physical risk, right? And specifically long term, this number becomes little, curious as well for everyone to ponder. Then comes the transition risk. So you decided that your country will be carbon neutral by 2070, as announced by our Prime Minister Modi in COP27, right? We are targeting 27. In that case, also there is a risk which is impending to our businesses as well as to our country. Which are those? Like, for example, I have just taken a few examples to showcase a case, is increased climate litigation. For example, CBAM is coming. A lot of countries and companies will try to fight against those. Shift in consumer preference. So consumer itself is changing its mentality, specifically in the case of Gen Z. It has been seen they are quite aware about products which are environmental friendly, and they like those kind of product. So the shift in consumer preferences is another challenging area which we are going to see happening throughout this transition risk. So the policy change, technology advancement, and market shift is the area which is changing this mentality right now. Apart from that, of course, you need to build scenario analysis to really understand the climate risk. And this is one of the example I'm trying to refer from IEA BCG study, where they have tried to, based on what is the temperature rise we are expecting, on that basis, they have done abatement exercise. Here, generally people use is TCFD, Task Force on Climate Related Financial Disclosure Framework, which again we learn in our 3-day program in detail, to understand that where you will be if you follow your net zero targets. Okay, specifically if you are following science-based target initiative, in short SBTI. Now, climate finance, this is a third part which I'm trying to cover now, is climate finance landscape. Now, there are 3 critical elements which we need to learn and understand in detail. The first one is global policy and regulation, which is changing at unprecedented level right now. For example, after Paris Agreement is the key momentum there, where limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, where more than 195 countries has signed, and they have agreed that they will try to achieve the net zero targets. Now, net zero commitment, over 1,500 companies have already committed and under UNFCCC targets, but the numbers are growing very fast and at exponential level, which creates a lot of career opportunity for sustainable practicing people. Second, climate finance landscape, if you want to understand, you have to understand the market mechanism itself, where COP29 has really changed the spectrum now. When we were sitting in Baku, you might have seen that Article 6 was agreed and approved, which was a part of Paris Agreement of 2015, but only after 9 years it got signed and ratified. Here it enables a different framework, ITMO specifically, which enables people to exchange their carbon offset versus carbon emission internationally. Okay, so this gives a framework and level playing field, which will be applied from October, and you will see a massive change thereafter. Renewable energy certificates, RE100, if you know, that is another provision people are using along with green tariffs, which is going to come in form of CBAM. Now, example is very good example is EU emission trading system, because of this implementation of this system, Europe was able to save 40%, 35 to 40% of their energy consumption just by starting ETS system. Okay, and there are several empirical studies that such kind of trading system works. Now, that's the last part of our discussion. And of course, we will go into understanding how you can achieve such kind of certifications, the career and certification opportunity which exist in this area. Internationally recognized certifications are available for people to pursue. A lot of people in India also is pursuing, specifically CFA Institute ESG certificate in ESG investing, and GARP, again a US body, has a SCR as a certificate. Now, GARP and CFA, these are the 2 internationally available certification. But apart from that, ERI Academy certification is also quite important.
if you really want to work on both sides of a spectrum, which is ESG opportunity and ESG risk. CESGA, which is launched by PRI Academy, has more than 4,000 plus signatories, which are banking and non-banking institutions, which follow this, academy regulations, and they are signatory to UNPRI. They and their people generally try to acquire that certification. If you see certificate in ESG investing, of course, there is no prerequisite to sign up. Means you need not to have a graduation degree, but as long as you are an ESG enthusiast and you understand ESG from risk as well as opportunity point of view, this program is undertaken by more than 45,000 people since its launch in 2019. Just 5-year-old certification, but more than 40,000 people all across the world has already been certified with this program. In India, that number is quite heavily growing in recent time. Specifically, currently, if you see how many people are enrolled, CFA Institute declares that it is more than 26,000 people who have enrolled for this program. And this program is valid for only 1 year. So once you enroll, it is valid for 1 year, 1.5 year max. Then is Sustainability and Climate Risk Program by GARP. They also have a quite heavy pickup in India recent times. But problem with this program is the passing rate, which is 15%. If you compare that with PRI is a kind of online certification program, so which you can do it by completing the programs and at the end, small exam. So that is very easy. There is a 100% result. Even though you fail, you need not to pay again for the program. But ESG investing, which is launched by CFA Institute and SCR, you have to pay reattempt fees. Both of them are nearly same pricing, approximately $800. ESG CFA Institute charges $890, while SCR charges somewhere $780 to $85. Challenge with SCR, 15% passing rate. So 100 people appear, only 15 passes. While currently in ESG CFA Institute program, there is a passing rate of 50 to 80%. Last year, it was 80%. And it is a gold standard, specifically in ESG investing and decision-making. For financial analysts, it is one of, along with the senior people, it is one of the best which has been observed. Why people are doing or transiting themselves into not only to climate area or social area or governance area, but rather a spectrum of it. The reason is such kind of people are valued in market. Two graphs I'm trying to show you. One is relating to the premium people are getting as a salary. So for a fresher, Sustainalytics, if you are qualified in ESG certification, ESG, all three areas, not only CSR or not only environmental climate science or the governance side, they are for fresher from tier 2 colleges, they are paying in excess of 4,50,000. If you go to CRISIL, the established companies, which are rating companies, they are paying in excess of 10 lakh rupees on an average, which is nearly a premium of 40%, 30 to 40%. And this is not only for fresher, it is applicable to all across people who are transiting themselves into sustainability skill. The second graph identifies that the people who have posted their profile on LinkedIn, and it is with the sample size of 1 million profiles which they have reviewed. They have found out only 0.7% people have ESG skill listed in their LinkedIn profile, while the jobs which has come on the same period had in excess of 6%, where they have asked for either ES or G or ESG as a together as a skill. Right. And that's the difference of 10 times demand versus supply ratio. Because of that, people are commanding higher salary in this area. So if you are stuck in your current organization, this is the best way to get out of it. Why? Because there is an emerging trend of bringing chief impact officer and creating a department. From PVR, the cinema place, to JSW, to international, Kroll, Infosys, you name it, most of the companies now have ESG impact officer as a senior guy sitting in the chair and having a full department, right? The chief impact officer is a new terminology, which is equivalent to chief technology officer of 1980s. I don't know how many of you have observed in 1980s, there was no CTO as a position, specifically in developing country and developed countries. Yeah, similar situation is there for the CSO and CIO right now. Yeah, Chief Impact Officer or Chief Sustainability Officer position doesn't exist, but slowly it is getting created. Already more than 1,000 company has created in India, which are right now reporting under BRSR. Yeah, and slowly it will become a requirement by different regulatory authority that there has to be a centralized department which should be taking care of it, which will open up a lot of doors and windows for professional like you and me. Now, so far, these amazing learning you have got in last 1.5 hours. We have understood the foundation of ESG investing. Of course, we have not gone into depth. We don't have that much time. We are already 45 minutes down the line. Then basic of ESG integration in climate change and alternative, that we have understood how to do ESG integration through a case study we have seen. And we also saw what kind of risk and return can come from ESG side. Last part which I have covered, part 3, was career development opportunity. And now going forward, what kind of pathway you can take. So here onwards, we are going to discuss about if you are interested to get yourself into this field, we are going to discuss that. And then we will take Q&A for half an hour, right? Let's just start with understanding, do you realize how important and easy it is to build your career in ESG, specifically with us, by making it simpler by concept and spending no money, right? Most of you have not paid. Whoever has paid for the recording and certificate, which we are issuing as a attendance for this program. So with that less money, you have understood that how it is easy as well as important to shift yourself and get a grip of ESG as a concept completely and get specialized not only on E, S or G side, but rather all three together. Now, are you confident? It's a kind of manifestation. Use your chat box if you can. If you are using mobile, still you can write there. Are you confident about accelerating your career by looking into all three sides of ESG factor rather than specializing only of one part of the sustainability? Send a yes in the chat box to encouraging me to go forward with the full speed, which I have already been going through. Thank you very much. Let me take some names for you guys. Nirudin, Vignesh Kumar, Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna, I will take your question very soon. Just give me 15-20 minutes more and I will take your question. Do we get Dipit Sharma, whoever has paid, has been getting a certificate after, for sure. It was, I think, if team member, you can post what was the price. I think $500. That was we have charged for issuing certificate and recording. Why there is a dip in fertilizer industry? We will take all the questions. So thank you very much for sending yes in the chat box. Ravi Mishra, Kevidia Srikant, Noor Lien, Aditya Rastogi, Athithya, Manoj. Thank you, Manoj, for sending your links as well. Okay, Abhishek Kumar. So there are links which are getting posted because you have attended full session. So if you want, you can use those books for a reference purpose. Link will be activated after the call. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Dandi. Thank you, Swapnil, for saying yes, Abhishek. It's a kind of manifestation, right? You are saying that you can upgrade your career and go forward with the full speed and try to get Sanvida Sakas. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Nuralin. Okay, so would you agree if you could successfully utilize your ESG skill in your company, yeah, not only the climate science, but even social science, which is critical nowadays, understanding the employee behavior, engaging with community, how to deploy your CSR properly, because there is a huge penalty nowadays if you don't utilize your ESG, your social funds, which you are supposed to invest or deploy. In next 3 to 6 months, your company and career would be significantly transformed. Right? Say, just imagine that there is a new department which is getting created in your company, and that department requires people with the certificate in this area. Will that be a good you or not? If yes, put in chat box that yes mark, so that it's very clear that how you are planning to pursue. But please understand there are 4 main problems which we have identified over 2 years of interacting with people like you, specifically professional, which stands between current you, which is stuck on the same level, struggling with your current profile, right? Not getting enough jump in your promotion as well as in career, or making lakhs of additional income through consultancy assignment, freelancing, or by doing, getting promotion in your company, working less time rather than slogging your 90 hours, which L&T chief wants, or 70 hours, which our Infosys chief wants, and have a money freedom. These are the two critical issues which are currently exist, yeah, which we will try to resolve by offering you a program at the end of it. First is the wisdom. Are you in the company of right people who really understand E, S, and G, all three aspects equally well? Are they certified to explain to you? That's the point number one. Second, do you have an accountability system? Because it's very easy nowadays, right? We can go to YouTube, learn from YouTube. We can come to free program like Vivek sir and learn from it and go and try to utilize it. But the problem is, does that have accountability? Today you have learned, after 2 months down the line, you will forget all the concept because you don't have even the recording. Third, do you have a consistent system like we did in our education time, where we used to go every day, school, college, learn something, come, give the exam, test ourselves, and find out whether we know that concept or not? Do you have a consistency? And last but not least, do you have a customized guidance system for you specifically, or are you relying on recorded video, which has been done for a general mass? Like this session, right? I have done it for general mass, irrespective of which strata you are coming from, all the concept will appeal equally to you. That's the problem with recording sessions, which I have observed over a period of time, or people who have attended our session and given the feedback. Right? These are the major 4 roadblocks right now you have, which you need to solve. A lot of people who attended our program, for example, Anil Kumar Sharma, he's an XLRI alumnus, quite an intelligent guy, worked with company like NTPC, which is a kind of Navratna. So he must have cleared that competitive exam and worked there for quite a number of years. After that, of course, he left that company, joined AFCON. At that point in time, he joined our program, understanding from his NTPC time that it is a critical area for him to develop on. He took our ESGPro 3-day program, as well as he has taken our ESG certification program from USA. Once he did that, of course, he shifted into Cap Asia, which is a kind of investment company. And he has 15 years of experience, so he got a position which is quite influential. And he's right now able to manage ESG portfolio, be it business development in ESG, finding right targets, and bid management and risk management, which he's utilizing after learning from our program. So this is one of the success case. Second success case, I always count on V. Sridhar, who was a real estate consultant, and he had an NGO company which he launched himself, yeah, in the suburban of Delhi. Now, Sridhar is basically from Chennai, but he got educated there, had a background in real estate since his graduation time. He had worked with diverse energy companies as well in past, along with NGOs, which he was running. Unfortunately, he was not able to collect enough funds for an NGO. Doing our program, 3 days program, he has prepared what is required in the proposal specifically, and got those funds which are available internationally. Eventually, he's also pursuing now CFA-ESG certification program, which is a long-term 6-month program, and getting that certification is enabling him to manage that fund, which ESG funds are giving in India currently. Yeah. So what he learned from us, and he came back and given the feedback that carbon credit side, along with the STPI goal setting, has enabled him to crack those code, which he's currently helping with. Third person, of course, quite a learned person. He's working with us. He's partner with me in the rating company as well, India first rating company, which is ESGrisk.ai. He is also a director there. Dr. N. Sriram. He is a PhD holder specifically in ESG side. His project was in environmental side. He joined our program even though he's a PhD holder, and he does himself now consulting assignment with us. He holds a board position in Supply Chain Health Consortium USA, and he lives between between Chennai and I think in US as well. Now, he's a certified corporate director, registered with IOD Institute as well, New Delhi. And he took our 3-day program, and later on he joined our 6-month program to pursue ESG investing. And what is the benefit he got? That he got a lot of consulting assignment after doing this. Being a board of director, you have a lot of time to spend on consulting assignment, which he is currently working on, along with joining a ESG rating company where we are working together, analyzing more than 1,500 companies, ESG initiative. Another very good example is Jayasri Mali. She used to work with CS Venture Official. It's a angel investment venture capital company based out of Mumbai. She was an investment associate at that point in time. She, after taking our program last year, 2023, end and January, she has shifted into ESG side, ESG investing side. So now she is contributing in decision making, deal execution, specifically pitch evaluation relating to ESG factors. Right? She transitioned herself as an investment analyst after completing our 3-day certification program and enrolling for international program, which is helping her to secure new jobs. Another good example is Dr. Santosh Mistry. He's an asset and energy management professional. He joined our program even though he has a Lean Sigma and PhD holder. He worked for a renewable energy company. He joined our program with a lot of connotation, thinking that how it will add value to him. Unfortunately, after completing his program, as well as getting certified from the CFA Institute, he has been considered as a head of sustainability in his own renewable company right now. Right? He's a board of director as well, a certified board of director. So now, after showing you all the success cases along with the understanding of ESG factors, you have 3 choices. 1, do nothing, live with what ifs in life. It's okay. You can find another free course. You can find some YouTube video to grip yourself. Second, do everything yourself, right? End to end. It's possible. A lot of people have done in their life, and I'm seeing them, they are doing really well. Or do it with me in a system which we have developed over a period of 2 years, working with CXOs as well as analysts. Yeah. What is that system? Let me talk to you. But in ideal world, you are the most perfect person who could do everything on your own. But the challenge will be that will take minimum 1 to 3 months. First of all, you need consistency. Second, you need accountability. Third, you need real right videos to work upon and get those understanding. Right? Finding YouTube video is getting more difficult as the algorithm is learning your behavior, right? Rather than becoming easier. Or we have developed a program which we are doing in 3-day boot camp every day in evening 7 to 9, starting from 8th. You can join that program, understand all these concepts in deep, and get certified from ESGPro Mastery Institute. That's the second option. So this option is between you. Either you take 1 to 3 months or you do it in 3 days. That too, with learning in a best ESG practice tool and practitioners who are already part of our community. We have a member of more than 1,200 people who are part of our community in different groups. Having you will have 1-to-1 personal ESG coach for you. Yeah, which will come in 2 terms. One, we will have a 1-hour session specifically for your career development processes. And that is why these are program which we are offering is not for masses. We are not doing recorded video and giving it to you for you to learn in your free time. It is not for mass, it is for limited people. That's why you get that personalized approach. Building yourself in a ESG community, which is anyway high growth intellectuals like people you have just seen. And they are very, very active in now some of the critical groups where they contribute, ask question, bring consultancy assignment, or see the opinion. And follow a guaranteed path, specifically with ESG, for the practitioner program, masterclass, where 47 professionals has already been graduated and got the job of their choice. Yeah, these are the 47 case study out of 3,600 people who have taken benefit from our awareness session, university interaction, as well as online live classes. Type a big yes in the chat box to express your readiness to know about what it involves, what all we are teaching there, what all we are mentoring there, how it can change your career. Write it just in chat box to give me that encouragement so that I can showcase you that what all it covers, what all we are covering in that program. Okay, I'm going to take the name of people who are writing. Yes, Ravi, great. It's a kind of manifestation, isn't it? That you are saying for yourself. You join our program, not join our program, we don't mind it. As long as you are ready to develop yourself, I will believe that this 1.5 hour has gone in right place. Thank you, Devabarti. Thank you, Dipet. Thank you, Kaushik, for saying yes in the chat box. Thank you, Ravi, for saying yes. Thank you, Samira. Thank you, Samit. Wonderful. Thank you very much for saying yes in the chat box. That is really helpful, right? Let me now introduce to you our 3-day boot camp, which we have launched recently, and we are starting immediately on 8th, 9th, and 10th. This masterclass involves, of course, certification at end of it, where there will be a multiple choice question which you have to answer. 1 hour proctored exam will be there. So this 3-day learning will be tested on the last day, then only you will get the certificate. Okay, we will also provide you books and we will enable you with the case study, which is a critical part of our learning system. We have a flipped class where we make sure that you practice with us those concepts rather than just I am teaching you and you're learning from me. You saw I only use pictures, right? Very small text, very little text, just to explain you what I'm talking about and you focus. We will give you a reading material in terms of case study so that you can understand each concept with a practice point of view, which you will listen in. A lot of people who have attended our program has given a feedback, which I will run for you, and you will understand the basic difference between our program or any other program, including YouTube, is that we take customized approach for you. But it is not for everyone, okay? I don't want everybody who is sitting here to join this program. This is for who are really interested to make their career in ESG. Because if I will invest my time, I want to make sure that you are at least deployable in certain jobs. Even I can share, means in our community, there are a lot of small freelance assignment comes in. You might have opportunity to join those. So you need to be really interested to transition yourself. If you are just coming for a fun course, please don't join our program because this is specific to professionals like CA, CMAs, CFAs, consultant, marketing and sales executive, quality experts, HR executive, and operational executive who had joined our program and got benefited in terms of their growth. And we want only people who really can go for the growth and have the growth mindset rather than just learning one more, free course and moving on. CXOs and board members are there, so we want to respect their time and their reading capacity as well. So we don't want a nonsense maker, a nuisance maker in our groups. Yeah. Limited offer. This is only for 20 people. 10 people have already been onboarded. With our last Sunday program, we have already onboarded 10 people. So we do not need now much people. Our cohort size is ideally 10 to 15. That's how we work with. Okay. We do not get or want a lot of people in our program. Otherwise, the focus will go. And that's the charm of our actual program, right? So we are looking for maximum 20 people to get upgraded and get upgraded fast. What I am going to discuss, debate, and mentor here. The first segment, which is day 1, is basically getting you from being no voice. So even though you know a lot of stuff, there will be some gaps which we will fill up. If you think so, we are filling up. Yeah, specifically in area of ESG investing, because decision making is now driven by upside down rather than downside up. Even for CSR professional, if you do not understand how to convert those numbers into return cost benefit analysis, you can't prepare a proposal. You know that better than anybody else now, right? It's more challenging day by day because every company wants you to perform double of what they are giving you. Clear? So we will start with those basics. We will start with the ABC of ESG. Then we will learn about ESG investing. So foundation will be done very clearly in part 1, along with how ESG investment is benefiting corporations by using ESG principle to capture those risks and the opportunity which I have shown you. I've shown you in brief, we will go in deep. Yeah, that's the difference now because we will have 2 hours only focusing on that area. Second, we will also look into foundation in climate change, right? That's a major risk right now impending on everybody's head. So understanding climate science, energy transition landscape, and scenario planning, we will go in detail. So physical risk, transition risk, and scenario planning, we will learn in deep that how you use it, right? With certain case study. Then third part of the module 1 is climate change and clean energy pathway. Here we will get exposed to science-based target initiative, energy transition landscape, and mapping what are those clean energy pathways which are available at your disposal. We will also give you a book around it so you can build your knowledge based on that.
I'm also like Shafi, IT professional, and I have personally involved in data center build in my career some parts of time. I believe IT industry, though it is helping other industries to manage and measure and manage their sustainability journey, there is a threat of and IT itself could be may not follow the path. In fact, just now on the other thing, I'm reading a Washington Post report. US is planning to commission 240 more gas-based plants just to meet the AI demand, right? In reality, we don't know. There could be efficiencies. One side, technology is bringing in efficiency. But my point is simple. IT cannot be lagging behind and they should take the lead role. And so I'm a green IT enthusiast. So I write quite a few blogs. And yeah, so that's my reason why I got enthused into ESG and more also into this last time when we had this opportunity to register for this course. I immediately joined.
So, by the way, the gentleman in front of you is Ranganathan. He is an IT professional. He works with one of the largest company in India, and he looks into data center of their USU operation. He's very curious on the sustainability front, and he joined our program and got benefited in terms of discussing, debating such kind of intellectual topics. Then we will go to day 2, 9 February. We will start with sustainability fundamentals. A lot of you might have an understanding of ecological concepts or not. We will try to go from basics, right? We will understand the ecosystem and biodiversity, how it is interlinked, what kind of carbon footprint an individual, a company, or a country creates, how you measure them, what are different criteria are there. So we'll understand that carbon accounting part there. Then we will see that how stakeholders are considering these two elements into their decision making. As a board of director, as an analyst, you always want to know how the company is progressing with their carbon footprint and biodiversity challenges, right? So this we will cover on day 1 in the beginning itself. So your foundation is done on the day 1. Day 2 in the beginning, we will cover this part. Then we will go into module 5, where we will learn into ESG frameworks. For example, GRI, SDG, SASB, TCFD, and how to navigate those strategies which any company is taking in form of SBTI. Right? We will learn those technique and tools and understand and get exposed to this kind of stuff, which of course is a deep study in itself. People can do a PhD on this, but I'm saying we can learn in a way that we can use it in our reporting, our understanding and decision-making processes, along with the stakeholder engagement, how a stakeholder utilizes these framework and reporting structure to make judgment and decision. What are those matrices, checklist, which they create in order to make a right decision before they invest or before they decide whether they want to go ahead with the expansion plan, which has a carbon footprint accounting. Then last part on day 2, we will discuss about 5 materiality pathways which are available in terms of revenue, cost, liability, regulation, all that we will cover, that how that impact and how you derive material topics when you start reporting. We will learn there, okay, by understanding impact of ESG data and management. Now, another success story is in front of you. Of course, it's on LinkedIn. You can go and find it out. Written by KP Vijay Kumar. He's also a director of operation and certified independent director. He was really thrilled to attend our certification program in GHG. Along with he joined our CFA-ESG program, which is continuing. Now, what he developed is these 2 areas, that in-depth expertise, because he got that customized understanding along with how to develop GHG mitigation strategy, which has helped him in his decision-making journey as a board of director. Now, last day. So what all we will cover on last day? Last day is a day of practice, okay? That how you will use all this understanding of ESG factors and integrate them to measure physical risk, transitional risk, scenario analysis, so that you can have a better understanding of your company operation and enable you to have an informed decision making. Both sides, not only into the climate risk side or ESG risk side, but opportunity side as well. How you can guide your team and management as well as the investment so that they can follow the opportunity as well. That will happen on the first module of day 10th, which is the seventh module. Eighth module, we will have a case study. We will have an end-to-end case study like BlackRock managing $10 trillion and what happened to them that they are now taking hand their back from this area, right? What has happened there? We will take that case study. We'll take another case study from Vanguard, that ETF or exchange trading fund company, how they have developed products considering ESG and still they are giving better returns than the market. Yeah, what happens there? We'll take those two critical case study where you need to present your findings in that online session. And finally, of course, there will be 1 hour of examination with 60 questions, which you have to attempt. It is a multiple choice question. You have to secure 60% and you will be awarded with a certificate at the end of it. These are the 3-day program.
So the other thing which might
So let's go.
so the other thing so the other thing which might again be helpful
I needed to understand ESG investing fully. VI Suman sir, a CFA and seasoned green investment banker, session was incredibly insightful and transformational for me. His real-world experience and mentorship helped bridge the gap between theory and practice. Thanks to the program, I landed a role with a leading MBB firm where I now focus on ESG strategies.